All right, so for today's video, as you guys can see from the title, we're gonna be going over and talking about how you can empower your leaders, your team leaders, but primarily your squad leaders. So this is gonna be from my experience as a platoon leader in South Korea. What I really learned is, the leaders underneath you, you need to make sure that you're challenging them and giving them more tasks, empowering them, making them take ownership, right? So what does this look like? What does this look like, Davion? So I had 3 squad leaders, right? And in the military, whenever people PCS, whenever people do outstanding things above and beyond from just their job duties, you can put them in for an award, right? A permanent change of station award. So an AAM, or an RCOM, depending on, level and so on. And my platoon sergeant was like, I'm not going to write every award for every soldier in the platoon. So, he empowered the squad leaders, and I learned to, take after him and empower the squad leaders. So the squad leaders were the ones writing the awards for their soldiers, and the team leaders were the ones writing the awards for their soldiers. So then the award would get reviewed by the squad leader if a team leader was writing them, and then it would get reviewed by the platoon sergeant. And then I would take a glance at it and pass it up, right? So I learned that in our organization, my squad leaders were typically the ones who were putting out the awards on their side only. So how can I better explain this? My squad leaders were the only squad leaders in the organization, for the most part, who were putting the most awards in for their soldiers. And, the key thing here is the commander sees the awards, because on the award, it has the recommender's name and their signature. So the commander is the senior rater of the squad leaders, right? And he's seeing their name on there versus other NCOs. So it's giving them more credibility, more face time, but on the paper. So the commander's like, okay, Sergeant blah, blah, blah's putting in the work for the soldier, okay? And he's seeing all that hard work. And that's just another way you can make your leaders look good to the senior rater. Okay, so not just looking at awards, the admin side, let's go to actual hands-on. So a lot of times my squad leaders, they would ask me, hey, sir, so what do you want me to do with this? And I'm like, hey, Sergeant, I told you, I need this done, like this in this area. That's all I'm giving you. You can make it happen. They're like, okay. A lot of times leaders are going to want to be lazy and want you to answer and solve all the problems, but you can't do that if you want them to be those leaders who can operate without you being there. So, I'm going to tell a quick little story. So in South Korea, we do a lot of convoys to different areas so that we can train, ranges and all kinds of things. And we were going somewhere, and when we got on ground, I looked at my Sergeant Jenkins, and I was like, hey, Sergeant, what's up? He's like, sir, don't worry. I already got all the barracks rooms. I was like, what? He's like, sir, I'm a freaking janitor right now. I was like, you a janitor? He's like, hey, look at all these keys they gave me. He was jingling that stuff, and he was like, I got the barracks. I got the USO. I got the latrines, the restrooms for you civilians that don't know. He's like, I got everything. I got the AHA for the ammo holding area, everything stored and everything. And he was like, sir, I think your signature here for this and this. And, Sergeant Jenkins understood, I gave him the room to do what he needs to do to get things done, not to just sit there and wait till I get on ground and be like, hey, Sergeant, I need this and this and this done. That's what you strive for as a platoon leader, and as any leader, for your leaders who work for you to perform without you being there. And that's what they were doing, right? So it really comes down to not solving all their problems, giving them, the purpose, right? Giving them that task, and purpose, direction. There we go. Purpose, direction, and guidance. But not too much guidance, just enough to get started so they can, develop that. And, the thing about squad leaders, you need to make sure you develop a great, I can't stress this enough, a great relationship with them to where they can strive and they can do their job. All right. Because there's gonna be times where you're gonna want to do crazy stuff. I would get mad sometimes because, the commander was on my back, first sergeant was on our back about something. And I was like, dang, my soldiers really messed this up. And, the commander's on me. And I would say, I'm going to make everyone do this and this and this. Because, in my head, I was like, all right, you got the power. This is how you're going to fix it. And then my squad leaders would come to me and they'd be like, hey, sir, we can make that happen. But you're going to lose the soldiers here, sir. I'm telling you right now. but we're gonna make the mission happen. That's what you want. And I would sit there and think about it, and I'd cool down and be like, you know what, Sergeant? You know what, Sergeants? Y'all are right. So that comes back to the principle of do not be that person, that leader who's like, hey man, this is exactly how we're gonna do it. I don't care, Sergeant. F off. Like, we're gonna do it this way, Sergeant. It's just not a great look for you, because they're supposed to help mold you too as a leader. And going back to the next topic, there are going to be some days where you're gonna have to tell your squad leaders, like, hey, we cannot do this. We have to do it this way because X, Y, and Z. You know, you got to make sure that you hold it down on that end. There's one time where my squad leaders, I'm not gonna lie, I think I've told this story before, but you guys are gonna get it again. We had just made a movement, and you know, sensitive items checks, that's always critical to do the checks before you leave, once you get there, and when you leave again, right? And you know, I was looking at the trip ticket, which has like people's names on there, the truck numbers, like all SI serial numbers and everything, blah blah blah, right? And I was counting the weapons, and I was like, hey yo, this counts off. And I was like, you know what, squad leaders, bring me all the weapons, count all the weapons. And they counted all the weapons, and I was like, this is off. And they're like, sir, blah, blah. I was like, I know how many weapons we came out here with, because I counted before we left. But this trip ticket is off after you guys complete the trip ticket. So from that point on, I was like, squad leaders, I want to see all the weapons, all the sensitive items at this time of day, right? And they were like, sir, do you not trust us anymore as your squad leaders? And I thought about that. I was like, do I not trust my squad leaders? What will I tell them in this situation? So I told them, you know what? I do trust y'all, but you guys lost a little bit of my trust, because if I didn't check these weapons, the sensitive items and everything, I could have sent up a false report to the commander, who could have sent up a false report to the battalion and everything, right? So this goes back to, sometimes you're gonna have to take away some of their power, right? So that you can get the situation handled, and then you're gonna have to turn that knob back on, you know, turn the fire back on and give it back to them. It's a balance game, right? Your squad leaders, they'll respect that, they'll respect you. So I'm gonna end the video here, but just looking back on it, make sure you empower your squad leaders. Give them taskings. Make sure that they do awards for their soldiers and their leaders. Make sure they do the NCOERs for their leaders, and you don't do them. Make sure you empower them enough to where you're not solving all their problems, so they can actually execute on grounds when you're not there, right? And then the last one, there's gonna be times when you're gonna have to take away power from your leaders. You know, there's gonna be times, but you're gonna have to know when to give that power back, because you do not want to micromanage them. I am telling you right now. Last thing I'm gonna leave you guys with. They might not understand what you're doing then, you know, because, you know, I was on my squad leader's asses all the time. But, you know, they're going to start reaching out to you and telling you, hey, sir, hey, ma'am, I appreciate you being on my ass about this, because I got to my next unit, and the other NCOs, the other sergeants, they don't know how to write awards. They don't know how to do all this stuff like, you know, you were really honest about. So that's what it's really about. Building leaders that can perform at their rank and above their rank. Leaders that can perform without you being there. That is what we're in the business of doing. Not micromanaging, but letting leaders lead. If you guys got any questions, hit me up down below with social media, Instagram, Twitter, and you know, this new app that they got out there called Clubhouse. Follow me on Clubhouse. It's down in the link below. With that being said, I hope everyone's having a blessed day, you know, a blessed night, evening, wherever you are in the world. If you're going through tough times, I'm telling you right now, man, just smile, like you're going to get through it, all right? And if you think you can't get through it, then just hit me up in the comment section below. With that being said, have a great one.